All right, welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. The US Supreme Court cleared the extradition of terror convict Tahawwur Rana, who is wanted by India. Born in Pakistan in 1961, Rana is a former military doctor who served in the Pakistani army. He moved to Canada in 1997 and became an immigration service businessman. After gaining Canadian citizenship in 2001, Rana moved to Chicago in order to expand the reach of his immigration consultancy business. He was detained in the US less than a year after the 2008 terror attacks in Mumbai. After a lengthy trial, Rana was sentenced in the United States in 2013 to 14 years in prison for conspiracy to provide material support to a terrorist plot in Denmark and providing material support to Lashkar-e-Taiba, a terrorist organization operating in Pakistan, of course, that was responsible for the Mumbai terror strikes. Rana is known for his close ties with Pakistani-American David Headley, one of the main architects of the attack. He is accused of providing the blueprint that helped plan the attack, helping Headley in his travels and assisting other LET members during the attack. He has been charged with several crimes in India, including criminal conspiracy and waging or attempting to wage war against the government of India. Rana was arrested in October 2009 and convicted in 2011 in the United States. India filed for his extradition in 2019, and apart from 2611 attacks, he is also accused of planning attacks on the National Defence College and a Jewish outreach centre in Mumbai. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Ambassador Bhaspati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director of India Foundation, also joins us on the matter. Mr. Rabinder Sachdev, International Affairs expert, with us on the program as well. Last but not the least, Dr. Swasti Rao, a fellow at the IDSA, is joining us on the program as well. Well, thank you everyone for taking out the time and speaking with us. Ambassador Mukherjee, I'll begin with you. Well, it is no coincidence, or it could be a coincidence, that this man that India has been looking to extradite for years and years now is going to be tried in India, is going to be brought back into India. He's run out of appeals, he's run out of excuses to hide his sinister plans as well as his sinister designs against India, and he's going to be brought back. This is obviously in line and in tune with the Indo-American relationship as well. Similar appeals are pending in the UK courts, which continue to languish and linger on. But the fact of the matter is that this is a good sign that this terrorist is going to be brought back and tried on Indian soil for the crimes he has committed and the people he helped kill.
I think it's excellent news.
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Ambassador Mukherjee, I can't hear you, ma'am.
We can hear you. I don't know what's the problem at the other end.
I think my...
right. Go on, ma'am. Go on.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
So I was just saying that it's excellent news for us. And it's taken a while because he had to file his final appeal, which has been rejected. And it's a happy coincidence. It happened just after Trump's inauguration. But I think that's just a coincidence. The issue here is that I hope he will be extradited as soon as possible so that justice can be done to the victims of the 2008 attacks. The only person whom we were able to catch and try so far is Kasab, who was given a free and fair trial under Indian law before he was given the death penalty and executed. And it was very interesting that the Pakistanis denied that he was a Pakistani, even though his parents called him from Pakistan twice before he was hanged. In this particular case, David Headley, under Indian law, stands a good chance of getting the death penalty. Since there is death penalty in the United States, therefore there is no difficulty in extraditing him to India. Otherwise, under international law, extradition treaties which extradite a criminal from a country that has no death penalty to a country which has death penalty has to sign an undertaking that death penalty will not be imposed. I know that because I was involved in 2 such cases when I was in the ministry. I hope that he will be given a rapid trial. Our courts do take some time. I hope in this particular case, because justice has been denied for so long, that he was given a free and fair and quick trial and punished for what he has done. And it also gives us hope that we would be able to eventually get back others who are facing extradition claims and who are running out of options, mostly in UK, that I am aware of. But there could be others in US courts that my co-panelists may be aware of. We were not able to get back David Headley, unfortunately, but this at least compensates us for that, Vineet.
General Katoch, thank you for being here, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, are there any nuances to this now? Obviously, this man, this terrorist, has run out of options. He's made several appeals. He's tried to fool the legal system in the United States, saying that, he cannot be tried for the same crimes in India if he has been tried in the US and punished for the same crimes in the United States. But the American judge, of course, being very, very experienced and sharp, went on to say that there are other charges against him which he has not been tried for in India, in the US as well. He was planning several terrorist attacks. He was supporting several people, in this network of terrorists that he supported and patronized. What do you make of this recent extradition, and how is this going to in fact send a strong message to all those people who have committed these crimes against our country, against the people of our country, and tried to get away? Some of them are still languishing in prisons all around the world. Even in the United Kingdom, some are roaming free.
Thank you, Vineet. Yes, as far as Tahawwur Rana is concerned, his plea of double jeopardy did not work, and rightly so. I think in this particular case, I think the most important facet is messaging. Many messages go out by this extradition. One, it shows up the strength of the India-US relationship. If the relationship was weak, then the courts could have delayed this matter for another 20 years if required, and we wouldn't have got him back. That is one. Number two, I think it sends a very important message across the terrorist world that the places where they can hide are getting reduced daily. And the third message is, to all of us who are fighting terrorism as counter-terrorists, I think it's a very strong message that if we can all get together, then the hiding places and the ability of these people to escape trial and escape justice is limited. So I think for India, I think it is a very important day. We have been fighting terrorism now for many decades, and many of these people, as you have rightly mentioned, have taken refuge in foreign countries, and in one pretext or the other, they are trying to get away. So on multiple counts, I think this is good, and I think it will further strengthen the anti-terrorism efforts which both India and the USA are committed to, and on which we are jointly working together. Number two, I think for Pakistani, there are a large number of these terrorists based in Pakistan also, of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, etc. And while as of now, I don't think there is any chance of Pakistan sending them back, but looking at it from the point of view of those terrorist groups, they never know what tomorrow is going to bring. I think that's a very important point. When you're looking at the psychology of the whole thing, that man doesn't know whether the Pakistan government, tomorrow things may change, and will they be sent back to India or not. So to that extent, these acts are deterrents to future terrorist acts. And to that extent, I'm very happy that what has happened, that this fellow is coming back. Lastly, to all the families who suffered, to all the investigative agencies who have, who have sort of gone the extra mile to ensure that the victims get justice, I think for them it'll be some sort of a closure also, especially to the families who have lost their loved ones, that okay, here is a chap, he nearly got away, but now he will get his just desserts, albeit 17 years later, but he will be tried in an Indian court. Vineet.
Valid point, sir. You're absolutely right about that. Mr. Sajdev, we must not forget that for hundreds of people who were killed as a result of this mastermind, closure is absolutely necessary. The Americans are very high on closure. They understand the sensitivity around these terrorist attacks. And what do you make of something like this being expedited, as soon as you have a new president in the United States? Is there a connection, or are we in fact thinking ahead of ourselves?
I mean, In the absence of knowing anything else, I would say there is no connection. I don't know, there could be some, but general, my sense would be that no, there is no connection as such. It is too early, too soon, maybe, but who knows? I mean, things can be possible, but generally, no. The probability is low, but who knows what fact. That is one. So it's just a overlapping of the timelines. The justices move in their own particular ways. The time had come for this judgment to be delivered. So here we are. So that is one. Secondly, yes, absolutely. To the point of General Katoch and Ambassador Mukherjee, I think we all are holding the same. We look at the same prism. Now, as to the question of what his fate could be, I was just thinking through. Okay, amongst other things, he's been accused of, I think, 4 main things. War against India, war crimes, okay, war against India, terrorism, murder, and also forgery. Now, in each one of these, if taken to its logical conclusion, there are, life sentences or with fine or death sentences. And even only looking at murder, for example, I was theoretically thinking, in murder, often you get life sentence, not always death. Death sentence is given in the rarest of rare cases. Now, in the case of these Mumbai attacks, I think this was a rarest of the rare case. There has never been anything like this on Indian soil in the last 70 odd years or whatever, or even earlier maybe. Right, so most probably the road ahead for him is a death penalty. And the sooner the wheels of our justice mechanism, maybe some special mechanism, fast track it could be, etc., be instituted so that closure is brought to the families and to the nation, to us as a nation, and also the message goes out, as General Katoch was saying, on various layers, which acts as a deterrence and shows that, there is, that the machinery is working along, albeit whatever time it may take. That's there. Now, stepping back, just maybe of interest to your viewers, David Headley and Rana, they were classmates in school. They studied together in Pakistan in an elite military school. They were classmates together, right? And then, of course, they kept their friendship and all, and then they both separately came their own ways to the US and got connected. And herein, it's Headley who was the first, point of contact with LAT. Apparently, they're the ones who recruited or he worked with LAT. And he asked Rana to help out, right, on immigration and all. How much Rana knew, he's been saying, I didn't know, but obviously he knew because they were planning something in Denmark also. So that's how, these two gentlemen came together and they gave what they gave to the world and to us. Now, he has been extradited after, I think, about 2009, he was arrested. So the US had given him a 15-year sentence. I'm not very clear. I want to check out if that 15-year sentence was over in 23. And it's because of that now the extradition moved quickly. So by that same logic, if it could be applied, Headley is out there for 35 years in America, right, prison, starting 2009. So that means by 2044, Headley should be out from the American legal system. Then, okay, India is waiting for him.
Dr. Swasti Rao, if you're there with us. Okay, Swasti is not there with us. Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, coming back to you again, ma'am. It's never easy for authorities to, get these criminals back. And there are obviously, these agreements that have been signed by various countries when it comes to extradition. Do you think that, it is time to look at the chronology of these agreements as well? Because a lot of them have been signed decades ago and they perhaps do not fall in line with the terms of engagement, that modern policing and modern agencies would perhaps want to secure the nation.
Extradition agreements, Vineet, they follow a classical pattern. If you're doing an extradition agreement with a country that is in the European Union, which has banned death penalty, then the extradition agreement carries a clause that the person extradited to a country which has death penalty will not be given death penalty. That is the only difference between the extradition agreements that we have, for instance, with individual countries in the European Union and with the United States. Otherwise, I don't think that the present state of law, etc., really affects an extradition agreement. We have to prove that we have established that he is a criminal. He is first tried in the country where he is being detained. If he is found guilty, then usually the country agrees to extradite him immediately. In the United States, as Mr. Sachdeva just pointed out, they have to first finish their period in prison in the United States before they can be extradited, which is why he said that it's been such a long wait for Headley, because, as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. And we are, as I agree with him 100%, we are waiting for Headley. In this particular case, I think Mr. Sachdeva is quite correct. He's finished his term, and that is why he is now eligible to be extradited. This condition does not necessarily apply to countries in the European Union. For example, in Portugal, where some years ago, when I was in government, we extradited a criminal from Portugal along with his girlfriend, and we had to sign give a declaration that he would not be given the death penalty, but he was brought back with his girlfriend, and I understand that he's finishing his term. He was also involved in multiple blasts in Mumbai, and he was not given death penalty because of the undertaking we gave. But we got him back. Abu Salem is his name, and his girlfriend was some small-time Mumbai actress, I think, who was set free after a couple of years. So these are classical extradition agreements. The problem is with countries with whom we do not have extradition agreements. Like, for instance, with Nepal. Suppose you have a Nepali national who murders a member of your family. All he has to do is to cross the border from India into Nepal, and we cannot extradite him. The Nepalese have always refused to sign an extradition agreement with us. So have the Pakistanis, naturally. I'm not sure about Bangladesh. I don't think we have any extradition agreement with Sri Lanka. So we need to negotiate extradition agreements with our neighbors when things improve, because it's on mutual terms, so that we can extradite criminals who commit crimes within India and then just escape, usually to Nepal, and from there they move on elsewhere or they stay put in Nepal. But we can't touch them unless we kidnap them and bring them back, which we don't do. A lot of countries do that. The Iranians do that, for example. So do a lot of Arab countries. We don't do that. It's against the rule of law. But this is routinely used by many agencies, including the CIA for that matter. They just pick up, kidnap, and bring the person back or kill him, like they did, for instance, with Osama. So this is the present process. Vineet, I don't see any changes coming up in that in the near future. What we need to do is to get an extradition treaty done ASAP with Nepal. That's first priority as far as we are concerned.
General Katoch, this raises a few more questions, right? If you don't have an extradition treaty with Nepal, a country which has, been linked to terrorist attacks or bases or opportunities in the past, it's a big lacuna.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with what the ambassador has said, and we need to get this. We need to get this treaty done at the earliest. But I'm not so sanguine about extradition treaties per se. Even with countries like the US or UK and other countries, countries generally operate based on their self-interest. And in many of these cases, the European countries or the US, some of these people are their strategic assets. You take this Pannoon fellow, and he's being treated. He's got some. He's an asset of the American intelligence agencies. So if you want him back, despite the fellow making absurd statements there that he's going to blow out half of Indian Airlines, he's still roaming freely there. And he even went to the Trump inaugural, the paid-for inaugural, and takes sort of video there. So I think ultimately, India has to become stronger. The thing is, the onus is not on the other parties, on the other countries, whether it is the smaller countries in India's neighborhood or the major countries across the world. I think once you're strong and make your presence felt, that itself acts as a deterrent to other people. And they would be very reluctant to hold on to people who pose a threat to India. And those people also will then, once you become strong, they'll also feel, they will feel deterred. That itself is a deterrence because they've got no place to hide. So I think ultimately, we do the best we can. We get onto as many extradition treaties as we can. We ramp up our intelligence gathering efforts. We do our policing correctly. And having done all that, I think over and above that, we need to build up our economic and military capability. Our diplomatic effort is outstanding as of now. So diplomatically and politically, I think we are doing well. Economically and militarily, we still have some way to go. And once we become strong, I think we'll be in a better position to handle these issues. Otherwise, merely having extradition treaties, while it is desirable, I don't think it is going to alter to a very great extent the situation on the ground. Vineet.
All right, we've almost run out of time. Mr. Sajdev, thoughts on what Ambassador Mukherjee has said and what General Katoch has said, the value of extradition treaties? Well, we are seeing the benefits of one through Tahawwur Rana.
Well, thank you. Absolutely valid and wise thoughts, from Ambassador Mukherjee and General Katoch. Absolutely. The thing is that, okay, fine, whatsoever it be, extradition treaties are a tool. Let's make lemonade. Life has given us a lemon. Make lemonade from that, right? That's the philosophy I would look at whatever we have out there with respect to these treaties. But yeah, absolutely very much. Our economic strength, our technology strength, our border controls, our policing mechanisms, our intelligence gathering, all of that, the savvier, the better, the more modernized, whichever way we may say, or well-resourced that is, more manpower, skilled, investigators, and all of that which goes into it. I think that will be a logical byproduct or a side product of our natural growth, absolutely, yes. And in the meanwhile, these extraditions, let's make lemonade.
All right. Appreciate you all joining us. It's obviously an important development when it comes to India's agency and the prowess to bring back these criminals to justice and to books.